So as he mentioned, this will be probably a little different. However, hopefully actually useful. Hopefully the things I talk about are in the category of tools that you can actually use, not just today, but maybe tomorrow and even a couple years out, rather than just, I mean, you've seen the pens and the markers? Yes? No? You draw with blood now? No, okay. I'll probably put little funny things in, you'll have to deal with that. Let's see. So it's that guy, you know about that. So as he mentioned, I kind of like the car stuff. I do ID, as they stated. I have a day job where 2 guys I worked with at a company called Sharper Image that isn't around anymore, which you guys are just young enough to go, yeah, I've heard of that. But it used to be the place that you would run into skipping through a mall. They used to have those and make all sorts of cool, crazy stuff. So I worked on a variety of things. Also worked in hairstyling products for a while, and you know, it's okay. All sorts of other weird things. We talked about race cars up on the top left there. That is data logging and telemetry that I spoke with Jason about earlier as well, because a lot of you learned about ODB2 connectors and what sort of fun they can be when you shove them in a car and try to learn something about a car. And then you find out it's not connecting correctly and you don't have enough information, and it's really not the problem because your tires are flat. But you can learn a whole lot about it. You can do all sorts of fun things. This was actually part of a video game, but it was a toy tractor. But it's only mildly interesting because this was done in 2003, and we had a 2 megabit chip on board that held the video game. So if you've got a whole bunch of plastic to put around something, you had to make something that would be fun. And what's a battery-powered device other than something that's going to be fun until it's out of batteries, especially if you're a young child, and now you have a hunk of plastic sitting there doing nothing. So I said, well, it's kind of a tractor toy, make a tractor. So I do very obvious things. Those guys I mentioned I work with at Sharper Image, we started the business making a Kickstarter, dog toy. So I'll fold all sorts of different types of stories into these things. This was just as, again, these are quick background things. The little watch you see at the bottom there, this is a whole system we did for a client. That watch came out 1 month before, who's wearing an Apple Watch? No? Oh, nobody. That's surprising. Okay. You've heard of it. Yeah, a month before the Apple Watch. So that was not the best business plan they had. It was an elder care dedicated product, but timing matters. That's a thing to keep in mind as you're going through and making stuff. Again, the Kickstarter-y thing. We made a bigger one. These are not good indoors, but a lot of times you'll do a product line. One of the things you can kind of think about as you go forward. Again, this, as he stated, will be rambling, quick, and you'll see lots of things. But you got to kind of give things a home with the materials that are going to fit the price point. You can't give dogs a 3/4 inch HDPE roto-molded ball that also has another 80 pounds of materials inside it. To a dog, but rhinos love them. But this is what we were going to talk about. Since I'm assuming you'll all be around for the future, whatever distance of time that'll be, you've seen a bunch of the stuff that we've been dealing with, you know, Adobe Suite and all these things. I don't know if you're using monkeys to measure things, but you know. You'll need one of these. This is an old reference to things. It's not important. But you got to have a machine that goes ping.
The EEG, the BP monitor, and the AVV.
Yes, it's Monty Python. You always want something fun, but you need your brain. Please, for goodness sakes, take care of it. Wear a helmet. It's the only PSA you're going to get in here. They're really useful. Get the good ones. I know people that haven't, so don't know them anymore. Here's those tools. Who was visiting Westerkamp today? No one? Or you guys already went through that already? Okay, good. Those skills will always apply. All these things that you're getting taught here will apply, will go forward. You'll get to be a cool guy like Ben one day. Meanwhile, they can apply to all these things you're going to do with all these future tools, and I'm making quotes because it's, the hard part about looking forward is you're going to have bets you make and bets you don't make. I had this crazy senior thesis where I had this thing on there. Keep in mind this is the year 2000, and it was called Bluetooth, but no one's heard of it. And I even put a tooth in blue on the front of the drive that held the battery charger. And everyone went, Bluetooth, Fred, right, that's a thing. And, but it didn't, yeah. So you can make these bets, and that was 24 years ago. And I was a crazy person then, right? Yeah. Dave is nodding his head. So doing the research you do now, looking forward and going, okay, wait, what's actually coming out that nobody's seen, or I found a research paper on, and continually making a habit to go out and do that learning is going to be really useful. So I have an annoying habit I've generated where I go through a lot of information in the morning. Feed readers, all sorts of things like that. Build yourself a collection system to where the future doesn't surprise you. If the future is surprising you, you can read more, or at least go out and do more research. Go see people. Go call a friend you went to design school with and say, hey, I'm talking at this thing, come show up later. Or have an old roommate who's here. Yes, Jason and I did share a home a long time ago. So these Westerkamp skills. Who's used to more used to drawing on an iPad than they are paper? And I'm guessing a few of you are kind of like, why can't we use that? I did actually talk to Rob today and said, I know you get asked a lot to do that. And he said, yeah. I said, do one project. Let them pick a project, whatever, because you're going to use those. Because who's sketched practice items for a project where you used your iPad, you used your tablet, you scanned it, used it as an underlay, you're using it. These are the things that as you go forward, it's not going to be, well, maybe you can use that. Because you're going to go, well, I have it at home, I'm going to use it for work. And then the IT guy goes, no, we need to put this in the system. And like, figure it out, because I have to use this. Not have to because it's the only thing you have, but you'll be able to be the most comfortable at it. Also, we're still making hardware. We still go do things. I have on my desk at home, or I should say 2 tables are covered in ABS pipe, 3D prints, electrical systems, all to get little dog treats onto the ground without spilling them on the floor in a vet's office. That may or may not get used for a client. But you still got to know how to use all these things. Now, here's where the fun comes in. Yeah, you know how to go buy a 3D printer and fix a 3D printer. Oh, what else do we need to go get? So I need a output valve for a vent. You can still ask Amazon as much as you can go ask Google. Think about the dumbest version of anything you're always going to get and go get the dumb one, okay? Ask people that know what they're doing when you're going and working on a thing. This is solder flux in a syringe. It's what the pros use. I'd been soldering things for a long time until finally a buddy goes, where did you get this flux? And it's just a little cup thing. Look at this, it's $10. And now when I solder, life doesn't suck. Okay, so find the tool you can afford to use, because and check into them when you're going and working on something, because some of these are genuinely, completely, that is not my keys, it's the microphone, far better than what you were using before. So don't be afraid to go, oh, I need to get all the schmutz. No, you don't need to get all the schmutz. But you need to find the things that are going to make what you're making work well. You know, solder flux, for example. And who hasn't soldered anything? You've made stuff melt. It's a candle, only fancier, and you're working on a low temp metal. The point of it is you got to stay organized and clean and do those things. And you get the silicone sheet below it so it doesn't go all over, you know, your table, mom's table, whatever. Buy a kit of bolts and screws. There's a bunch of them, a bunch of sizes. Again, you're out 40 bucks and you've got all your metric sizes. Metric, it's new, it's good, it works on tens, you don't have to do fancy math. Put the number in, it's a 5, it's a 4, it's a 27. Fractions are hideous. Avoid them at all costs, or at your peril. But I choose to avoid them because metrics makes things just a ton easier. You know, and obviously, joking, 3D printing pens, pasta, super glue, baking powder. Do they know this? Have you shared the Lauren? What's Lauren's last name? Star Wars Lauren? Lauren Peterson. Lorne, L-O-R-N-E. If you watch any of the behind the scenes Star Wars stuff, he shows up in there. He's a lot taller than me, a lot more hair. Lauren came here with the original ATST. He gave a talk when I was a senior, so it was last week. And it was one of the original ATSTs from Empire Strikes Back. And one of the legs fell off. Like he's walking down the hall. And I figured out who it was pretty quickly because the picture was up on the wall, just like mine for some reason. And he's like, he looks up, he goes, do you have any super glue? And I was like, yeah, I'm literally running away. I come back and takes my super glue and puts it on there. What I didn't know is if you watch those Star Wars behind the scenes things, Lauren and his buddies who'd come back recently from Vietnam, because they had been making models up until that time, models being the Star Wars models from the original series, the original episode 4, they were all still using rubber, like proper model glue cement that you would smell. And these guys go, yeah, in Vietnam, they would just take this glue and they'd just press your skin together if you got a wound and instantly glued. And he's like, what do you mean instantly glued? That was a revelation. You have that there. You have the baking soda. You can toss on there, harden it up, instant plastic, file it, you're good to go. Point being, if there's new technology, whether it's truly new or not, or it's just lying around the house but you can use it and get where you need to go to communicate with it, please, 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 don't be afraid. Go try the new thing. Similarly, you've all got 3D printing in your head. If you haven't had one of these or played with one, here's how to fix it or reattach it. And there's a bunch of other ways. There was an old toy in the 70s they called a plastic welder. It was a really crappy little motor and weed eater or FDM trimmer line where it would just spin and stir weld plastic together. You can 3D print little pins or even just take the FDM in your Dremel, smash it right into that 3D print piece. Now you're literally joining that with the same material and you're going to get a good solid join. You can sand, fill it, whatever you want to do, and it's going to work like the rest. It's the same version of the same thing, but now you've got a way to fix and join together these things that you're already printing them out, but it's only ever this big, right? Or you've got big laser cut or whatever, you've got to put it together. Can you put it together with itself so it feels monolithic and it's just faster? This thing warms up in a minute, just like a hot glue gun, only unlike a hot glue gun, it's cool. In 20 seconds, you can hold the whole thing, and if you're gluing 10 pieces together, that's gonna make it look like it's a single piece and feel like a single piece, not weird glue lines. And when you're making models and doing all sorts of things like that, it's a good little get out of jail free card that doesn't give you crappy hot melt glue everywhere that you're waiting to cool down in Nightmare City. So I say that because these are cheap. I've had one for 6, 7 years now. And people look at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, no, it's just fine. I mean, they have tutorials and projects. You guys know how to draw. This is not rocket surgery. Don't do rocket surgery, they hate it. So, again, this isn't that big a, why can things not come through? Okay, whatever. I did have like a little thing there, but whatever. Electronics. You have access to more electronics knowledge now at your fingertips on your phone than ever before. But better than that, these programs, and if you're worried about writing down stuff, I will share these, I'll put them on, you will have a link and a QR code, and I'm gonna show you a tool at the end of this that will make all of your lives easier, I promise you. The big point is, this Fritzing KiCad Easy EDA, you've probably seen, you know, you see cool circuit boards and you go, wow, that looks like something I don't want to deal with at all. The tools have gotten so much better, and even from the Arduino side, which is like, oh, it's a kit. Well, it is a kit, but you want to get it to where you call, you know, the company, there's a couple in Oregon, JLPCB, anyway, PCBWay. Once you can make a PCB design, that means you take a schematic that says, I've got this magic chip and these components and they all go together, and you draw a bunch of lines to make it actually use energy and make the thing happen. You send it to them, they send you back 5 for 20 bucks. But they've got all the parts on them. You didn't do any soldering. You put 3 pins on so it went to the main connector and you're good. By learning to use literally Fritzing, KiCad, Easy EDA. KiCad is what the pros actually use to go make an electrical circuit board. You can just download it. It's free. And being able to do that to fix anything from making a flashlight, that I've done it that simple, to what I'm currently doing, and then you go, oh wait, I don't need to send it to them because we do have that laser etcher and I can spray some paint on a piece of board that's yay big, that's got the brass coating on it, and etch off the paint and drop it in the acid and boom, made your own circuit board at home. You have options like this that are kind of staring you in the face, but that's kind of where you're at. But you got to like be willing to learn about the electronic stuff. And there's a lot of good opportunities there, which is something we really didn't do much, at least at my time here. Is there more electronics bits now? Good, good. But ABTTA, which is something I've heard of since I made it up earlier, which is just always be taking things apart. There's no easier way to learn, just take stuff apart. Because what's even more fun is if you actually figure out, especially if it was broken, how to put it back together. And the more difficult it gets, very quickly you go, okay, I'm less terrified. So the fear is just as important to deal with of what's going to happen. Go break stuff. It's okay. Just wear the helmet and probably gloves and eye protection. I have a child, you can't tell. CMF. It's an annoying designer thing you'll deal with a lot. And I think I had, hang on a sec. So it feels a little okay, well, that's where we are. Okay. This is something that Dave knows has been a particular troubling thing for me. So material and finish, it's pretty easy to pick the right materials for things to a point. And then you go, oh, how are we going to engineer that knee pad so it bounces the way we want? Because we're playing volleyball, not skateboarding, and we're only doing, dives so far. So, you're going to go look and play, and usually you can kind of find that top material you need. But There's a whole extra section of materials that you're going to start tearing your hair out, and it happens. And eventually you go, why am I not hearing about all these things that I should be? I know there's these high temperature things, and there's these special springy things, and clothing that has circuits in it, and you go, where the hell am I going to get a hold of this? Or you just imagine a thing. Hey, I want this to exist, and nothing comes up on Google because you're kind of like out, right? Please go to trade shows. They're literally standing there waving you down in an aisle. Come talk to me. I literally have what you need. Or the opposite of that is you're at a university. So the one weird advantage you have is you have all these people to deal with all sorts of different materials that you can't imagine even exist on this planet, let alone they're 300 yards away, and they are overjoyed to help someone from the design department. Literally. The most ridiculous version of that story is my first university was Montana State in Bozeman. And I was in the mechanical engineering department, but I was taking a life drawing class down with the ceramics teacher that looked like the cool version of Santa. No joke, the long string, but it was just, and he had this dulcet tones with which he would read to you a book while you drew somebody naked who probably smelled too much. And he was the ceramics department director. Dr. Vinogradov, in the hypersonics department in 1993 in Bozeman, Montana, came down to him with 3 vials, and he said, please, can you help me? I need to stick things together at 5,000 degrees Celsius. I've talked to everyone in the world and nobody knows what to do. Just come with me. He walks into this one, it's kind of like the dusty room in the back of the ceramics department. He walks in the doorway, grabs a shovel, sticks it in and goes, how much do you want? Don't be afraid to ask these people. You might know. The wrong person isn't necessarily the right person. But again, that comes back to that fear. So don't have that when you go, how am I going to find this thing? This ceramics guy helped hypersonic research on the planet move forward because he asked all the wrong people. So get outside, go do those other things that are going to expand your mind. Go read, go look. Don't be afraid. Make a new friend. Go to a place that has something, your buddy says, let's go. Because we all get stuck inside way too much. But not that I'm finished. He missed that. But it could be. So there's a ton of tools for this. Let me show you the other fun things that I wanted to get to before I skip them. So I had a nice conversation today with Jason over here and with a few others. The big thing is I've been using Oculus now for, I would say, 5 to 6 years from home. Ben, how many times have I told you to buy an Oculus?
Too many.
Yeah, too many.
I'll give it at some point.
Yep. Here's what I do with it, and have done for years. Drive race cars. That means I can see every detail. I can look down. I can get out of a car in a video game, stand at the side of the road, and watch race cars go by me at 200 miles an hour and wave at them. They can't see me waving, but I do desktop work on an app. So we'll go through this because this is just fun. But seriously, I had 5. Jason, how many computers did you go through when we were at school? 4? Ben?
I currently have 4 on me, and I have 8 in the warehouse.
Yeah. This computer is $300. Oh, $499. Is that the new S? So the 3S is the newest one these guys have. Right here. This is going to change how you work in a bunch of ways. It's not, maybe it'll work tomorrow. I've been doing this for a while. This fluid thing, for example, I can cast 5 screens in from my couch. I can have my monitor, 5 other menus, movie, sound, email, other email, 4 spreadsheets side by side by side. I got a laptop. You can spawn these things out and go make these things happen. So similar to that, there's another one that I actually prefer more called Immersed. Maybe it even has a website that works. So they're starting to do all this craziness too. The visors do whatever. The biggest thing is they have a fun thing called a portal. So I can sit there and I can have my 5 monitors up, be in the middle of an ocean, and I have a window where I see my keyboard and mouse, so I can actually type and, and another portal I put at my front door so I can see my dog, and if the mailman comes. It doesn't sound like much until you realize, oh, that means I can also see my cup of water so I don't knock it down. I can sit at my desk, I can do these things. Yes, it's heavy and I only do it maybe 2 hours a day. They're getting lighter. As you see this visor here, when this one comes out and it's nearly here, you can wear it all day. So the interaction, and think of all the Zoom meetings you do. Now think about the Zoom meetings, only you're actively sharing all of your information. So you've got a group project and you're like, hey, what are we doing? Well, we're all in there together. And I don't know how many of you actually are in it, playing with it. The other thing is Netflix, Prime Video. You get a 40-foot screen in your 1-bedroom apartment. There's nothing better. You're just away very easily. But the real fun starts, let's see, which one is this? Why are things not going fast enough? I haven't had a fast enough machine yet. This is the item that I find the most compelling as we move forward that isn't AI based or resolving as a website. This is Gravity Sketch. A few of you have already said you are aware of it. The coolest thing about it is NURBS and solid modeling in free space. The way cooler thing about it is it's in a headset and you can invite your friends in at the same time. You can play with it at any scale. So, oh, that car you're designing, now you can go sit in it. Literally put an egg crate on the floor, sit it at the height, look around and go, who put that there? It needs to be over here, and make those changes in real time. Oh, that tiny microphone you were designing, let's make it 20 feet tall, walk around and go see all of those little details. Now you grab those with the NURBS handles, switch them around, and oh, we're gonna just introduce a whole big crazy surface into it. So this thing that could have taken you 5 minutes in some simple solid modeler or just SolidWorks, whatever, now you can get in and go do those details and bring a friend. You can make it more fun, more interesting. You can make 10 copies inside there, hand it to everybody. You hand them up and go, we like that, let's put them together. Literally put them in the same space, draw over them. These things are not tomorrow, they're not 5 years from now, they're 3 years ago. And it's painful when you see that. Now, am I great at Gravity Sketch? No, I still do SolidWorks most of the time, but I go sketch in there. And what's really fun is you can go, oh, I'm gonna draw this shape, I'm gonna draw this shape, I'm gonna draw this shape. Now, crush that part, bash that in, I'll put them together. It's that easy to play with. It's super Play-Doh, no messing in the hands. Cannot recommend enough. And there are plenty of workflows around and visible for you. So the other side of it is they have a, let's see, the other things that are in there, workflows. Hey, look, I typed in Gravity Sketch workflows. There are video after video of how to bring that into your process. Start with workflows for a bunch of stuff. Again, these tools exist, they work well. A lot of shoe people like Gravity Sketch, because you have a very repetitive form you have to start from. Unless you've got one of the club foot people or you're dealing with the horse hoof and then you got to import that. But it's okay, because you can just, 3D scan that. So, you know, who's not using Polycam for 3D scans to just import? So it's just photogrammetry. You take a whole lot of pictures, you bring that in. So now you've got a file that you brought in from photogrammetry. You turned it into an OBJ file instead of a step or whatever. Oh, that file will now drop straight into Gravity Sketch. Just like any of the 3D files you went and grabbed over at Thingiverse or, let's see, we got, what do we got? GrabCAD, the library there, printables. So we have all these files, right? Or Adafruit, all their electronics are online. You can bring in all those electronics, all those circuit boards, and you dump them in that Gravity Sketch play space with your friends and go, let's play with the Legos we need and go make that shape. Let's go 3D print a hand form that we don't have to sand for a million years, but actually learn how the tool would work because we put it in there, subtracted it, and then we've found ways that the draft will and won't work, or a better way to do the draft and shape the tool, because we can play with those in real time and fast, come to a real answer that's useful, and hopefully with others too. So the nice thing is it's getting better to work with other people in the same space, and if anything that's not in the AI world is getting better, it's that. It's, oh my gosh, I can work with a team, not get thrown over a wall, not get forked on a GitHub code base. Is that something you guys talk about at all, the filing and organization? As it comes back to all of this, everybody's, oh, it goes in this class. Oh, I've got that for this class, so I put those files over there. As you get out of there, you have projects, all these other things. Get familiar with the concept of some sort of revision control with GitHub. I'm sure you've seen GitHub, or at least heard of it from one of your coding friends. The interesting part is the process of just, let's see, I'm sure it's in there. Anyway, the whole point is you have a timeline of whatever's going on. Oh, I want to do another copy and another copy and another copy. Now you don't get lost in your copies. There are certain pieces of software on the enterprise side that they're building this in better. Onshape has done the best job of anybody of the 3D modeling companies of building a GitHub style filing system. That means you're working, you turn around, okay, it's just there, but you came in and went, oh, I'm gonna do my own version of this. So now you have this forked copy. Now, you're not interrupting it, but you go, hey, they go, hey, I like this part, let's push it back. You bring it back in, you merge it. That is the process that these coders use. If you can get that in your head with how you're building, so, and in this case, Onshape literally has that functionality built into it. SolidWorks is not there except for living in their little online suite, which is a whole extra hassle. But as you go through that, you're going to get away from naming, version, copy, final copy, until you have a final version 7 AB left-handed. You don't want that. So you can get more organized as you go through all these things. And the other next steps are, okay, well, how do we keep our brain on a path? So, and I don't care, I'm totally agnostic on who's doing what. Notion is one of the many, you got Evernote, you've got, there's a million different versions. Find a way to keep yourself organized and automate your organization for your daily actions. So now, you can wake up, have a reminder for what's coming up. You don't spend 30 minutes shutting down at the end of the day. You open that journal for the next day and figure out right where you were. You come back to that and you go, oh, hey, we can go, and I'm not lost because I have my forked version of that file I was coming back to. I do have that meeting on my calendar coming up where I'm going to go work with Jason on Gravity Sketch for an hour for that other project. And I've got that link sat right there. So my You want to tell yourself the future before you have to get there. Because otherwise you're going to spend that time and more getting back to where you were yesterday. So eventually time becomes the money, and then missing that hour a day, just not knowing where you are, gets painful. Don't live in the painful world. It's no fun. Speaking of that painful world, so this is kind of the method with that madness. So paramethod, there's a bunch of, everybody's got a guru for one thing or another. I used this for a little bit. I moved forward from where that was because structurally it wasn't a perfect fit for me. That's fine. Find something that works and use it. Stay on it and move forward so you know what's coming ahead of you in terms of that logic for what's got to happen. You've got enough to do as it is, right? It's on overload every day. There's no affiliate links or anything. They've got a whole explanation of this thing online. Same with bullet journal, if you've ever seen that. And it's literally a couple little instructions that say, oh, you cross that out, you do whatever, and the bullet journal, you just don't get lost. Because the second you get lost in what you're trying to do, you're gonna spend so much time just going backwards. You can always just start here. A notebook, pads, you don't even need all the markers. As Dave's well aware, and as I talked on CMF, the C part's color. I'm colorblind. So some of the design classes were a bit harder for me. But there's workarounds. So as I always tell my son, be smarter than things. So we took the color class, and everybody would do these, and they'd come in, and they're generally right or not. And Dave always thought it was a little weird the colorblind guy could do the class pretty well. And the last day I said, you guys know on the back of the paper, it says what the color aid paper number is? The whole class had no idea. So just be smarter than things. Read the instructions. They're mildly useful sometimes, not always. And if the instructions suck, someone's made better instructions somewhere. Probably has a diagram of it or an infographic of it. So if the instructions suck, go find some better instructions. If you don't understand a process or an email, go ask 3 GPTs, 3 different ones. Get a consensus of, oh, it looks like it's actually this. Well, crap, he left out a comma. That's why this sentence doesn't make any sense. Or they said a number in a different language. Great, translate it. I get a lot of art. I don't speak Mandarin fluently or at all, but I get stuff in Mandarin all the time. Google Translate works really well. Don't get scared because you see a bunch of literal Chinese or Hebrew or kanji, whatever. There's a way around it. So there's too many limitations already, as it might sound like, and is true. I have ADHD, big shock. But I figured it out at 44, only because my son was getting diagnosed, and they were like, yeah, we'll get to you next. Literal phrase from the doctor. What day is it? If you write it like that, anytime you click on your folder, everything's in order by date. If you just put that day in front in that order. If you write it like we usually do, that doesn't happen at all. Dumb little things are little tools that are super useful. Jing, which is now Capture from TechSmith. I don't care, again, what tool you use. This is the app now. It is the dumbest, easiest way to communicate with somebody visually when you need to send them an email and point to a thing and go, that goes over there. It's just find the dumb, easy tool to do the thing that you need to do. Because if you can't get that communication across when you thought about it and you found the problem in the instructions, or somebody forgot to solder a lead on the PCB, that's why the connector isn't connected anymore, or as I dealt with today, hey, it says there's supposed to be a capacitor right here. There was no capacitor. So, find these easy tools, because it's great to use the really fancy ones, but, you can just go capture stuff and go, it's that easy. Oh, what are you going to do? Well, copy it and post it somewhere. We're done. That goes in an email. Don't waste your time communicating. Communicate quick and clearly. This is a lot better than hand doodling in your handwriting on some sketch for one corner that's really important. Also, with this, grab 3 more of them, put them all in one Photoshop image, put those together, so now everything tracks together, and you go, oh, that's the top, left, side view from 3 different programs, because you're working on it in 3 different ways. Yes, you don't have to have crazy ADHD to just do this, but you can go, oh, I want to see the photo next to the CAD model from 2 angles of each of those. So that's 4 images. And then you put Jing on, or a capture on top of it, and you go, see these parts? They need to be here. And you can write it just like that. You communicated that perfectly well, right? Take a picture of a guy in football crashing and go, right here is where he hurt himself and broke his leg. Probably know that, but communicate like he broke his leg. Or like you can't show up for 2 weeks because you got a serious case of Hawaii. Great. Are they confused about what you sent them? Hopefully not. So that's just, again, do the dumb thing, find the good tool. Don't make people work harder than they're already working trying to do the thing in the first place. Okay, AI, gonna talk about it. Who hasn't spent 5 hours doing AI yet? ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, good. I'm glad to see that. Now, how much work have you done designing prompts and just doing the talk back and forth? As we go forward, this is going to drop into a lot more fun areas. When I say that, hang on, I got to go find the right page. Yeah, you're going to end up with glasses too, big surprise. They work, just wear them. Oh, right, GPT. Gee, who came up with that? Yeah, have fun, or at least tell yourself jokes while you're doing things. You can't tell if I do at all. And get the fastest computer you can afford. They all suck, but hopefully you can get one that's mildly close to the speed you're thinking at. And you don't have to think at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Okay, so we're familiar with OpenAI, ChatGPT. Claude has gotten far better. Pick one, I don't care what you do. But also, combine it with other things. This is AI PRM on top of Claude. Well, it just tells you, hey, here's a bunch of things you can do. Now, they're all mostly about writing stuff right now. That's about to come to an end and get way more interesting. So if you've played with, everything's dumber than it should be still. So there's a bunch of things that are starting to make text the 3D models. Great, right? But again, that's a step. Oh, it made a tripod because there was 3 legs and a top part that all came together. But you need an aluminum extrusion or pultrusion out of carbon fiber. That's a whole other thing. That'll fit a 1/4-20 thread bolt on top, but it needs to be parametrically adjustable, not telescoping, but adjusting height. That's a whole extra thing that it's going to go, well, you should probably ask about making an email. As we get past there and it can do that, because we're talking about the future tool. Okay, what comes after that? Oh, I'm going to make a car engine. Well, what's that mean? Well, where do I start? Do I start with how much power it puts out, how efficient it is, what size I have inside the hood of the car, where I'm driving it, what I'm driving, Those are the silliest requirements, or the best, depending on what you're doing. But then you get down to, oh, I'm getting a 3D model out of this. I have displacement, engine methodology. Is it a rotary Wankel? Is it a radial engine? Is it a Stirling engine? Is it running on gas, hydrogen, tigers, whatever. Now you have liquid volume, flow path, motors, connections. How do you fix it? Every time you design a CAD model, the next thing you need to think of before you chop it into a bunch of parts is, if I take this apart, can I put it back together? And can I take it apart again? Because every one of the things you make, you have to do that with. That little phrase will kill any AI, because you have to tell it, you have hands and you have these tools. Now, how do you avoid it from making you a 3D model that, I mean, we've all, maximum lost 10 millimeter socket heads, I'm at 15. Anyone beat that? No. We lose tools. Tools aren't well marked. How do you make things repairable, assemblable, as simply as possible, to build them as quickly as possible? Oh yeah, you got to tell a computer that in so many words that it's assuming already, because it's assuming you don't want to be mean when you email your wife a joke. I've heard that before. He literally went, I can get home and not be murdered. So as we go through these new tools, we go, oh crap, those are the questions in your design thinking. You go, oh, it made me a big block. Maybe I want it to look nicer than a block, on top of just the look, and work better, and work with what we're doing. To where back when we got in that Gravity Sketch headset, where we all got in together and made that car, and somebody forgot to put the cup holder here because they put it here, and I can't reach that. Those same things that we're doing with the ergonomics happened for all the mechanicals as you're working with that team. Whether it's a coffee maker that ruined last year for me, whether it's a dog toy. All those things, when they're going together, when they're getting tooled, when they're getting molded, when you got to take it apart and put it back together. You know, because then you got to imagine, hey, grandma, put these on. No, don't fall down, just sit down. Put these on. Yeah, it's video them first. So, hey, here's these handles. Just grab it, squeeze this thing like you're grabbing it, pull the pieces apart, put it back together like a puzzle. If you can do that with the kid, your cousin, grandma, mom, dad, whoever, not the dog, they suck at it, you're going to be able to build these things, design these things, so you can actually work with them. So you can build something, you can take apart, put back together, repair. I'm guessing half of you have never bothered anything with opening that lid on the car, the hood on the car, and going, that's no, it's not going to look at it. But please do, because it's really fun and can get you in lots of trouble and very dirty hands. Just wear the gloves again. Let's see. Clearly, I'm all about the slides here. Branding and selling. You are coming to having a senior show or a junior show or go for portfolio review. A little less important on the branding side, but you all have an Instagram page, you all have a LinkedIn page, right? You have a portfolio, which is and isn't the most important thing, depending on how you go about it and what you want to do. Because the coolest thing is you're going to have friends that are engineers and business people, but they're not going to know design thinking. And depending on how you wield that, you can go do all those other things because you can walk in and go, oh, it's the Navy SEALs for brains, right? We got to figure out all this stuff. But like Dave said, you don't have to know everything. You just have to know where to find it or figure out how to find it. So we go, okay, well, AI didn't know. And my crazy ceramicist brother didn't know. And I didn't find it there. Well, do I go make something up? Yeah. Or do I start with, oh, there are these 3 esoteric professionals in this one thing. They all live in this town. I'll go buy them dinner and figure it out. And they're going to end up telling me or get too drunk and they're going to need a ride home. But you can find these things out. So just, again, the fear is a big problem in any of your daily actions, right? Do I want to go work out? Clearly not enough. But you need to beat that and go find those answers you need, because if you find enough knowledge about the problem, you can solve the same problem a bunch of ways. Is anyone here wearing the same shoes? Probably not. They're all shoes. They got us here. Now, you're not going to go play volleyball in it, walk into the bottom of the ocean on them, or drive F1, but that's okay. These are acceptable for where we are. So, there's a million ways to do it, probably a billion. Take advantage of what's out there, and then innovate and get interesting from there. You can be funny. It's not the end of the world. You don't have to be funny. You can be colorful, rough, smooth, fuzzy. Think of your fuzzy friends that wear only fuzzy things, and you get a hug and you're like, oh, it's the fuzzy hug person. They're going to design fuzzy. Think of your friends when you're doing a car and go, how would I make a fuzzy car? Who cares? Make it fuzzy. It's not going to be fuzzy when you're done, but you have a different point of view that you didn't get locked into where you were before. So how much can you squish your brain to go be that other fuzzy thing, or your cat? Don't let Toonsis drive that far. Go look up that Saturday Night Live bit. It's very good. Yeah. So as you come back to the branding and selling I started to talk about, the brand is who you are. Well, are you flexible? How do you show that? How do you tie that all together so you've got a link tree and all those things so it's hidden at the bottom of your email, so they click on one thing, they can see everything you're going to deal with, and they go, oh, they have some really interesting stuff here. You know, you look at mine and then you see just my personal stuff. Then you see guys I worked with at Sharper Image that we now do all these weird things. You see I worked on auto racing stuff, and let's see, we have handcuffs, and I've done, just get yourself into weird stuff. I worked on a NASA project in college. Before I came here, I did a solar car from scratch with 12 people, 3 of which were faculty, and we drove cross country in a car that had lead acid batteries in a solar car from Indianapolis to Golden, Colorado. Other teams had between $100 to $1.2 million. We had 60,000 worth, and we still came in 23rd out of 50. So you don't need everything to go do the thing. Just be not afraid. And then lots of volleyball here, destroyed only one ankle. Selling. How do I sell you me, which is the other side of branding, right? Or that product. That product we made all together in Gravity Sketch, that's a new light, that this is actually an incandescent bulb. It's not even LED. Like, where do you buy that bulb now? There's 3 places you can buy that bulb. And every other site you see on the web is just selling that one in an affiliate program, right? So, rather than have that nightmare of this thing that's been made for 50 years, but now you go, where the hell am I going to get an incandescent bulb that fits that? Like, you have a whole new problem because you can't even put this on your next podium because you'll never be able to replace the lamp. So when you're thinking of things in the future, you go, okay, well, what am I not going to have available to me? I know I left selling. I'll come back to it. But that's the other part of selling. Right now you're watching everybody's doing their affiliate thing online, and everybody's got a sponsor or whatever, and they're selling the one thing that's going to sell well on Amazon. That's less important than having something that is useful, playful, interesting, valuable. Valuable because of what it is. You know, can I take your phone permanently?
Yes, go ahead.
Permanently?
Yeah.
It's that bad?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I have a feeling the information in there is worth far more to you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's really pretty valuable.
Sure.
Okay. So what other things do you have that have way more valuable that when you buy it, You don't even realize how valuable. You're like, oh, it's a crappy phone. Oh crap, I have all those pictures in there. If you took that right now,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
your own answer. So, what am I making that is going to keep those answers as you go through? So if I'm selling it, now, maybe the first 5 that go out the door aren't super exciting, but every single one of those 5 people that buy it have that story about, oh, it's not the best, but it has that one thing that you're going to have to pry out of my cold, dead hands. So that's where all these niche things you see, and one of the cool things that's, I think, really big about industrial design that I don't think enough people talk about is you see a lot of craftsmen go do original products online and you go, wow, that guy's doing the left-handed doozle-zazzle thing with the leather and the fake whale fur. That's not a thing. Whatever. But you see a lot of designers doing these things that are selling. And you go, how does a guy make that one thing that he, whatever, with the whale fur? And they're doing that. It's because they're focusing on that one thing. They don't have 1,000 other things they're doing. And then they can spend the rest of the time actively going out and doing that selling, like at trade shows. I'm going to try and wrap these back around. But you can also get help with that. So when you're in-house at a corporate spot and the marketing team and the sales team come in and they're going to have that conversation, and then you use that design brain to listen to them, actually listen to them, even though you're like, you guys suck at this, and work with them to improve how that sales process goes. Because it's not just the processes that are going to come through of dealing with other people in the corporate side. The selling is what lets you get to keep going there and taking their bad or good coffee. And what you want to be able to do is help anyone that's doing that, or if it's yourself, using those AI tools and going, oh, I really don't have a full-time marketing person, but I do have HubSpot that's free. And if I just go through their steps that they gave me on the site, that makes sure my website, I filled out everything like they told me to, and I did this on the 5 places, oh, that AI already knows how to do that. I could just tell it, go do that. It's this, left-handed whale, whatever's. But some of those things, if you follow those steps, you're going to get there, and you can do the right-handed whale thing. But you have a design thought, so you go, oh, I can actually make something unique, give it its own life, brand it its own way, and actively sell it. Because the cool thing is you already have the skills to where you see these guys doing these things, these gals doing these things, and you go, wow, and then you go, wait, you got one of those, you got one of those, you ground that one part down with something, and you put it in a box and shipped it. Now, you do have to go learn how to make the box fit, so when you shake it, it doesn't sound like broken glass, unless you're selling broken glass. And in this case, good. Then you got to make it louder broken glass though, right? So once you get that whole stream down, and again, you'll be working with the people doing that whole stream top to bottom a lot of times. So it's like, oh, we're selling broken glass. We do need the loud box because it's broken glass. Well, how do we make it louder without changing what we're doing? Now you get your design thoughts and you go, oh, what are we going to do? How are we going to make that louder broken glass? Oh, do we make the box a centimeter bigger every direction so it's got more space to shake the glass? Who knows? I don't care. You're selling broken glass. But, hey, people do it. What do you think's happening with recycled glass? Oh, crap, that's a whole lot of that. Now you got somebody's definitely selling broken glass. So how do you take that and make that the value? Where it's going to have that value to you. What do I need that? Why do you need the broken glass? Well, that's what goes in my fire pit with the propane ring. Yeah, you just sold, now you're like, oh crap, I know where a bunch of broken glass is. It's still a design process because you got to get it to the end of the line. So don't be afraid to follow that line, make that path, let AI help you make the path. Hey, how would I sell broken glass? It's going to go, oh, here's 10 steps that might work. Then you go, okay, well, I need like 100 more things, but each of those one is 10 things. Okay, that's fine. You can expand on those. But that's where the design thinking, avoiding the fear, keep kicking down the door, and get to that to where you are selling that broken glass in boxes, maybe with a little Tiffany bow on the top. I don't know why you're doing that, but if you build that experience, so you already have this experience, right? Some Ace Ventura is showing up at your front door, instead of giving the UPS guy and stealing the dog back, somebody's got a box of broken glass for you, and you're like, oh, I know what that feels like now. I want it to be loud, and you can feel that. Now it's something you actually want to design, and you go, oh, how's that process work? From that unboxing that I see the videos of all the time, all the way back to when I'm designing it, and oh, their 3-year-old picked it up, dropped it 3 times, it's broken now, but they can put it back together because you designed it so they can actually assemble the thing. Oh, and you got great instructions online and in paper, and there's a QR code where they can reach out to you if you need to. So thinking through those things, whether you're the one person doing it or you're in a big corporation, and you walk down by the desk of the person that does that one weird thing that nobody else knows why that part's not working, and you go, why doesn't that work? And they look up at you and they go, I don't have a computer screen. I just have the keyboard. Yes, it's stupid. I've seen it. Yeah, go in the warehouse. The monitor's been broken for a week. So none of this works because you don't have a monitor? Shit happens. So don't be, I know most people don't go in the warehouse. Most products, you've got a warehouse somewhere. Go to the stupid warehouse. Just like going to the trade show. Just like going to a store. It will help you do the selling. And then when you're walking in there, you still got to go, hi, I'm wherever, whoever. All these are going to wrap together for every one of these steps. For as fancy as I make a slide, who cares? I care that you know it, that you can do it, and you have a plan for it. It doesn't have to be grandiose. It has to be functional. Then you can go make it grandiose after that. I love Formula One racing. I drive really, really crappy cars on track, but it's a lot of fun. You don't have to do it every other way. You just have to make sure, like the shoes we all have, we get there. I think there's more slides, but it doesn't matter. Let's make sure I went through the important things, that is all the tools I have in here. Here we go. Idea generator. AI. Wow, you've got everything for me. It's stupid. It may have a box of broken glass on it. If you can't think of anything, go there. I really don't care. But it gets you that next step. Focus mate. As I said, hi, ADHD, it's fun. I have more Adderall in me than most, though. But here's the thing. I can't get focused, so I need somebody else to help me focus. I'll call Ben sometimes. Dude, just work. You can just go book a session and somebody else's little head pops up on a screen and just go, what are you working on? What are you working on? Okay, let's work. It helps. Break out of those things. What an asinine thing to put up. It can be useful. Magic to do. Good naming. Goblin tools, whatever. Do we care? No. I'll get you all the links. Don't worry about it right now. You can tab through this thing, and it'll go, oh, what do you want to sync it to? We've got new experimental features, whatever. Formalizer. Ooh, I want to write more formally. Oh, I say, why am I wearing a microphone? Because of this. You can be other voices. Who cares? The trick is, then you Photoshop Dave's face on here, and you just talk to it, and you go through it. You can do all these things. Stack Overflow. It's like Reddit, but with less porn and actually useful information. So Stack Overflow is separated by classification of thing you're working on. You've probably seen it. It's really useful. Please, for goodness sake, don't forsake it. One of my favorites, hey, how do colors go together with this thing I want? I know it has to be blue. So, well, that's the blue I want. But, I want to extract a theme from it, but I really care about, it being just some complementary colors, and I really don't like that one, so I'm going to, again, play with it. Grab tools that simplify your life, And now look, at worst I screenshot this and go, I really like that combo. I've got it. Done. And I can go make 50 other options. I have a plan. Oh, I don't need that many. I can pick fewer. But what do you have? I have a tool I can go do something with that makes sense that I go, oh, crap. I can totally use that. Let's see, what else we have in here? Yes, we know what Google is. Oh, whimsical. We'll come back to that. Figma. Again, I think you know this, maybe not. Go build an app UI. It's literally Legos for that. This is one of those tools that if you talk to anybody building apps, they're going to say, oh, well, we start in Figma, and then we go do the thing. Just use your Gmail, go in there, start futzing around. It's going to work. Use the Pro Tools every time you can. There's a reason why they're Pro Tools. That doesn't mean the one-off weird tools aren't useful. You know, they'll put a bird on a headinator. I don't care. It's a thing, so what? But use the useful Pro Tools, and I don't care if it's Inkscape and GIMP instead of Photoshop and Illustrator. I care that you learn how to use the tools, so when these guys go, what, do you know how to even do this? These aren't even cut out right. These aren't even whatever. Now, AI is going to come from more and more of those tools. So what? You've still got to think. So use the Pro Tools, because the pros, which you are going to be soon, will need that. Or what is this? Otter, whatever. I've got 5 different things. There's another one called Firefly or Butterfly, whatever. Note takers for Zoom. There are a bunch of bots that do this. It's great. Somebody wrote down every word everybody said. You know what's even better, in my mind? Google Record. If you have an Android or a Google account, you hit record and you can share it. But the really cool thing is, let's see. I was in a, 3-hour, 20-minute meeting yesterday. And look, there's 3 hours and 20 minutes of free transcription. Done, instantly, at the end of our meeting. I emailed my partners who are up in the Bay Area. That's the GitHub that I mentioned. But tools like that, they're on your phones already. Learn the ones that are going to make your life actually easier. I play more with tools than I do with games anymore, which is ironic considering my addiction for racing games. But again, please do go play on Gravity Sketch. You have a friend with VR, I guarantee it. That is the one that, in what we're doing, between that and just 2D sketching really well, not bad finger squishies on a phone, you know, you can build yourself your own ellipse templates in Procreate, in any of these 2D, where's the 2D guys? There we go. So what, we got Procreate, we've got Autodesk Sketch. They all work fine. But you've got to use the knowledge from these classes here to go make those work really well for you. Then you're like, oh, this is easy. I mean, I can do it in watercolor. Oh, I don't like that. No, let's do it in marker. Oh, I like that. Oh, but I need some pastel on there, and then I'll erase it back through. And you go, oh, that's cool. And then, oh, I did do 3 GPT underlays because I wanted a neat background that was in space, but I also wanted, you know, Gleek from the Wonder Twins in it and whatever. And I had to put that together, and that's my background, and then I drew over it. And they couldn't tell because you still drew it. But you built yourself your own plan to go forward because you thought ahead enough to where you could go play. Because if you've got yourself ahead of time, and then you've got enough options to go, oh, I can just go play. We used to have to make frickin' photocopies at Kinko's of crap that would take 3 hours out of your day because 2 other people are in the middle of breaking the other machines. You can go do that digitally, go break as many things as you can, take as many things apart as you can. In there, lose nothing but time and end up learning from it and moving forward. So it's way more useful, and all that fear goes away and you just go make really cool stuff. Because the cool stuff comes when you're just noodling around, right? That notepad and you just like, that's that thing I wanted to do to put over here. Get to that playful spot and away from the fear part. How did I do? Okay, it was just like you thought, right? Not useful at all? Okay, and I will have all these, oh, last thing. So I said, oh yeah, there's a bunch of stuff here, right? So I'm gonna can I just kill all the groups? This is one I don't know. Is there an ungroup all? That'd be really cool. Here, ungroup. So there's a specific reason I'm doing this. Because Max, you're gonna have all these links here. You can even time me in under 3 minutes. Because what I do, I'm just gonna show you the half of this. Well, we'll do it all, because why not, right? And I don't think you get any of my logins, so I should be fine. Okay, so like I said, this is just one more tool, right? So how many groups do we just have there? Well, who cares? Because I hit this one, and I go, boom. Okay, now I've got every one of those links. And I come back over to, where's my Gmail? Well, we'll just go pop it up. Actually, I'm going to pull this down. Links from Fred's talk. Accidentally yelling. There's all the links. So there's plenty of tools. Go experiment, go find them, product hunt, whatever. Have those things, bring those to you. So you're not going out and having to find them. And then with your friends go, oh crap, you know, you like this stuff, we can share those links, actually go figure out what's there, make a blog, whatever. The bigger thing is you're going and experiencing that new information. You go, oh, I know where those things are. I have, you know, and bookmarks are horrible to put together, right? But, you know, oh, here's some great 3D modeling things, but then you go, oh, calibration tests. Well, we all hate doing that. Put it somewhere you're gonna go find it. Last tool, I promise. And we went where now? Oh, yeah, here we go. This is Campfire 3D. What's really cool about it is, yes, it's there, it's there, it's there. Now, you can go back in, you're not modeling, but just like the capture one where I said, hey, it's right here, you can do that in 3D space for making notes. So you drop the model you're working on in an email with a link, so the link goes to here, you can all jump in and you could have a crit with Dave in VR, everybody can be at home and go, this corner right here sucks. It should be 72 millimeters. Currently, it's 7. But you have that ability. It's there. You don't actually have to have that because it works in all the other spots. So find the tools that work in all the other spots so no one can say, I can't go work with you on this. You go, yes, you can. You're out of excuses. As long as you can work together with everybody on it, then you go, oh, let's hop in, let's go do it, and move forward. Again, get over the fear by finding the way to work together. Because this is really cool, and it is that dumb. You hit a button and it goes, exploded view. You don't have to set it out. You can move it. You can customize it. It's just going to do it. And you go, oh, tag, fix this. It's horrible. Why is this green? How would one take this apart? Have you talked to? All this stuff's there. It's free. Go do it. I'll put that in the links for you too. But this is the stuff that's sitting there in front of you that as you go forward and as you get, as in 3 years we all get that whole Quest thing, but in a pair of glasses this light. Maybe it has a wire for power, but all this is working already. And not enough people are just shoving it and going, hey, do you want to use that with me on, because it's going to make our lives easier. Nothing there I showed you, I believe they all have a free option. And you have a .edu email, which gives you carte blanche for pretty much using anything. And going, hey, I'm a student. Can I have one? You know, oh, we already have that. It's just this link. You should have used GPT to go find it, but whatever. So, and again, don't be afraid to go ask for samples. You're going to go, you know, you're still doing tours of places, but go call a factory because you really like the thing they make and go, hi, I just want to go see how you do this. And they're like, crap, come on Tuesdays, we're done early, but I'll tell you to walk around the plant. You'll learn more about how your favorite thing is made so fast, and then you know the person that actually does it. So it's not like, oh, I'm working on this thing that is the thing I like. They're like down the street, but whatever. And they're like, no, no, no. Now it's, I'm going to call Dave, who works there, who knows what that machine is. I can spec that in the cost of the thing I'm making and make it more real. And, you know, that's an affordable machine. Can I do that at home? And all these other ideas are going to come trickling out of that. But again, quash that fear, move forward, go collaborate. You don't have to go hide away. That part sucks. We've all had an epidemic and been stuck at home. I didn't have to be stuck at home all the time. Now, we all had Zoom. It still didn't feel like you're touching somebody. But you can go watch a movie with somebody. It's that dumb. There are 3 different apps, or 5. You can just go watch a movie with your friend if you both have a frickin' VR headset. And it feels like they're right there, and you go, oh, you see he's gonna die in a second. Whatever. But it's there now, and it changes how that interpretation happens. Dave mentioned, we were talking about VR earlier, and he said, you know, I wanted to go back in, about an hour later he was mentioning, I wanted to go back in. I've always had a pretty small place. I live in the Bay Area. Place is a little smaller. You go watch Netflix, you got a 20-foot monitor, so you're literally watching in VR, laying down, in a big old movie theater all by yourself. It feels like you've got a movie theater. So the VR side, or whatever this analog is, rather than have to go stare at your monitor all day, can bring that next level of engagement and skip the $1 million race car, and skip the owning a movie theater, and skip those things, and get as close to those things as you can, but then allowing it to be shared. I race iRacing. So iRacing is a video game, you drive stuff. But it gets really cool when you're in the goggles, you turn around and your buddy's in the car, you know, because you both made silly paint schemes on your cars because you're running the Lemons iRacing League, don't look that up. Somebody's on, literally broadcasting it online on another Twitch channel, and you're all playing together while everybody's stuck at home, and you're having a ball. You can build those analogs and go do those things where it feels right because the wheel's fighting you back with 100 pounds of torque, because all those things are happening because you've turned it up way too loud and your whole body's shaking. And you've got a bass booster kicker, just like you would for your playing your FPSs. But how are you going to go do that? Get your brain out of where you were and go try the new thing, see if it works. And you know what? Maybe that sucks for you. Fine. Go find another one. Go find another one and go, hey guys, look at this. Because you're in the studio, you're stuck together. Way too much? Just a guess? Yeah. Yeah, go find, you know, have a contest every week, best tool. Somebody wins a free slice of pizza. Everybody puts a quarter in, I don't care. You'll be amazed what else is out there when you just pick your head up, go kick down a door, go shake a hand, and go do that stuff. Wear your helmet, wear a glove. That's kind of stuff that's fun. You want me to do some Q&A now? Okay, let's do that.
All right, thank you.